Good morning, YouTube. Welcome in. DutyRon here, back again with another video. We're talking about Valerie Cincinelli, the New York City police officer who was arrested several days ago on a murder for hire plot. We have some minor case updates in regards to this horrific murder for hire plot, but I'd like to speak to you guys about it. Just to keep you guys updated. So I'm going to wait for a couple of people to come on in. Hopefully I'm live. I'm not even sure if I am, to be honest with you. Been having some problems with settings lately. I don't know why. I'm having problems with the Streamlabs settings. Going a little wacky on me. Just going a little bit wacky. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm live. I'm going to wait a couple of minutes. Let's see if I can find myself on my secondary device. So far, so not good. Oh, there I am. I see myself now. I see it now. Hi, guys. How? You know, it was just so weird because it didn't seem like I was live, but sure enough, I am. I am live. So good to see everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Some interesting updates in regards to this case. I've seen a few people report on this case, and I watched a couple of other YouTube videos and some news reports and things of that nature, and there was just a little bit of misinformation being reported. So let me just share this on a community post. Hope everyone's doing well. Yeah, I don't have comments yet. So I'm not sure if I am live. I gotta check that out. Kind of weird. 2 minutes and 35 seconds and still nothing. Don't know. Don't know what's happening. Very odd. Hi, Lori. Yeah. I just wasn't sure because my Streamlabs is acting up. I don't know if I have volume. I'm trying to listen to the volume and stuff like that. Hey, working on paper. Good, Colorado Crime Con. No worries. I tried 2 times before this and didn't seem like it was going live, but I'm glad that I am. And I see that I have one created broadcast waiting. So sound is great. Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't talking to myself. That would be not good if I was doing a video to nobody. I didn't know if I was even out there, to be honest with you. On my Streamlabs, it shows nobody watching. On my other device, it just shows 3, and on this one, it shows nothing. So who knows? I don't know. Maybe it's just a bad time of the day. But be that as it may, I'm here. Thanks, Lori. Thank you. Thanks for sticking your tongue out at me. I appreciate that. Pretty funny. You know, there's always humor when it comes to YouTube. There's always humor when it comes to YouTube. That's for sure. You can always find some humor in YouTube every once in a while. So, I'm gonna share it onto Twitter real quick. We'll see how that goes. There we go. Colorado Crime Con is working on paperwork. Geez, I hope that's not school paperwork. I hope that's just regular paperwork. Because right now I couldn't even fathom the thought of school or anything pertaining to that, at least at this stage in my life. School would be right out. But so I'll get right into it for the replay viewers. Hi, Kelly K. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. I'll get into it for the replay viewers. and anybody that might come in during the live. This is a female police officer. She's 34 years old, 12-year veteran of excellent, just work stuff. She's 34 years old, a mother of 2 children, 12 years as an NYPD police officer. Her roles included, ironically, her role on the police department in regards to her patrol duties were she was a domestic violence officer. So she was trained in domestic violence. And, it's people were reporting like, how dare the police department employ somebody like this, or how dare the police department have a female police officer in the domestic violence unit that ultimately tries to hire someone to kill her own husband. Now, if I had a crystal ball, and if the New York City Police Department had a crystal ball, then we could say, well, how dare them? But they don't have that crystal ball, and they don't know. Hi, Lauren, how are you? They don't know what each and every 37,000 police officers are on the New York City Police Department. They don't know, in fact, what each and every police officer does on their off time and how they conduct themselves. They hope that the police officers conduct themselves in a proper way, but unfortunately, some of them don't, and she was one of them. But she had the domestic violence title when she was in good standing with the police department. As a matter of fact, she was Cop of the Month in 2017, right before she was suspended and put on modified duty for a domestic violence incident, a personal domestic violence incident between herself and her husband. She was Cop of the Month for stopping a bank robbery in progress. So under all terms, she was a model police officer. She was doing a great job on the NYPD up until that point. What's up, Ron? Staten Island resident, 36 years, NYPD, best in the world. There you go, Steve. Thank you so much for your support. I'm a retired New York City police detective. There are good and bad out there, guys. People, when you have a large police department like the New York City Police Department, it's hard to keep tabs on each and every police officer. But that's why there's internal affairs. That's why there's the Civilian Complaint Review Board, and that's why there's good citizens who keep police officers in check. Hello, Mel. Good to see you. Quinny Q. That's laughable that some ask why she was in that line of work. We do not know it exactly. Well, like I said, if we had a crystal ball and we knew that she was going to be bad in advance, then shame on the police department. But the police department didn't know that she was had a temper. And her domestic violence reports, I looked at them. They were verbal disputes that escalated. Hi, Tabitha. How are you? Hey, guys, if you don't mind, share, invite your following, share it out onto social media, send it out to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever you have on social. If you can invite for me, no matter how small or big your following is, I greatly appreciate that. The more eyes on this, the better. So what I'm saying is that, she was on the force for 12 years, and for a good part of those 12 years, she did her job good under the terms of, police work. What she did on her off time, she's 34 years old. Her husband, estranged husband now, they were in the middle of a divorce, is 32. So they're both around the same age. She has 2 children, 5 years old and 10. I don't know, boy or girl or whatever it is. That really, to me, doesn't matter. But she has 2 young children, a 5-year-old and a 10-year-old. And now they're going to be motherless because she's not going to see the light of day for a long, long time if she does even get out, because she's going to be charged federally for the murder for hire. So for those of you who don't know this case, this is a 34-year-old police officer. She's suspended, so she's still a New York City police officer. She will be terminated once she gets indicted on the charges. When when she's indicted on the charges, she'll eventually, and then she gets sentenced. She will be terminated from the New York City Police Department. But what happens is because of the New York City union, the police union, the contract in the police union offers police officers, like rights like what we have as civilians, innocent until proven guilty. Once the guilt is proved, she will be terminated. But they suspended her without pay. Normally on, say, a domestic violence incident, because let me go back to 2017 when she was put on modified assignment. There was a report that she had a verbal violent dispute with her husband. The police were called to her home. Nassau County Police, which is not New York City. I believe the hearing is sometime next week. Not this week, but next week. But I don't have actual confirmation of that, Lori. When I get the exact date, I'll report it to you guys. I searched for it and I couldn't find it. But I'm going to go into the federal... you see, the New York State court system is available online, but I couldn't get access to the federal. The feds keep their stuff a little bit more locked down. So, hi, Sugar, please. Good to see you. But, Lori, as soon as I get it, I just don't like to put stuff out that, isn't valid. But I would assume that because we got Memorial Day weekend coming up here in the United States. So this weekend is Memorial Day weekend, so it's a long holiday. The courts are closed on Monday, federal holiday. Bella Mia, good to see you. Thanks for joining. Make sure you like the video, says Mel. Thank you, Mel. I appreciate that. So it's a federal holiday. The courts will be closed on Monday. And I'm figuring sometime next week, we should have a complete indictment come down, and her charges will be formally placed against her. And she has to plea. She hasn't pled guilty or not guilty at this time. But let me just sum it up. Not sum it up. Let me just give you what I know. Let me give you what I know. So she comes on the police department. She comes on the police department in 2007 and does a great job on patrol. Hi, Erin. She does a great job on patrol. She was elevated and placed into the domestic violence unit. Now, to get that kind of assignment, the domestic violence unit, hello, D90, good afternoon. To receive an assignment into the domestic violence unit within the New York City Police Department. Now, I know this because obviously I work there. To receive a domestic violence invite to that unit, it's a specialty unit. You're now not subject to going out on patrol anymore. It's a safer type of assignment because you're inside the precinct. You're taking domestic violence reports from walk-ins, people that walk into the precinct, or people that have called 911 and then come back in and follow up with a domestic violence officer. So they do sort of like investigative work in the domestic violence field. They're specially trained. They go out for special domestic violence training. So the police department invests a lot of resources into training these police officers. Hello, Aaron. Good to see you. Thank you for joining. At least I have one of my mods in here. Thank you for joining, Aaron. Hopefully you could stay just for a little bit. If you can't, I just summoned Joey Brooklyn to see if I can get him to come on in. So, yeah, I mean, Lauren, I feel that, I don't know her personally, so it's hard for me to say this, but I know that any police officer that takes on the job has to have some type of passion for crime and safety and helping the public, So if you go into the domestic violence unit, you have to really have a passion for domestic violence. And that's really all you do all day long is deal with domestic violence cases. So somebody who doesn't have patience or that doesn't have, it takes a special kind of cop to be in that domestic violence unit. Now, I don't know her. I do know that a couple of my friends who have worked with her. There's a gentleman that came on here yesterday and that have sent me several emails that worked with her. He saw some of my videos. He sent me some private messages. He told me that he worked with her, and I believe that he did. He said that she was a good cop, and that she was just a little, how did he put it? He said she was a little ditzy. Ditzy could mean a lot of things, but my takeaway from him saying that she was ditzy was that she was just a little bit, maybe, I don't know, maybe a little silly. I don't know. So, at the end of the day, guys, yeah, I would say hiring a hitman is a form of domestic violence, but it's also, you're a murderer via a hitman. So, that's a serious, heinous crime. Hiring someone to take your husband's life and then hiring somebody to not only do that, but take away your boyfriend's 15-year-old daughter's life, that's a heinous, brutal crime. And if she was willing to hire someone to kill not just her husband, which is bad enough, but to hire someone to kill her boyfriend's 15-year-old daughter because that daughter of the boyfriend didn't approve of her cheating with her father when she was married. This 15-year-old girl had enough common sense to know what this woman was doing, what Valerie was doing, was adultery, and she was cheating on her husband with her father, and she was vocal about it. And because she was vocal about it, this police officer wanted to have her killed. And I'm going to show you in the charges, in the federal charges, how she says to the hitman, I want this 15-year-old girl shot outside her school. And if you can't do the job, I'll get somebody else to do it. And he responds to her. And unbeknownst to this police officer, that was a federal agent she was talking to. She was talking with a federal agent. She told the federal agent, thinking he was a hitman, if you can't shoot her at the school, run her the fuck over. Her words, not mine. She said, run her the F over. I mean, that's a cold-blooded, brutal killer right there. So this goes far beyond a form, Lauren, of domestic violence, Hi, DutyRon and all. I didn't know how much I've missed, but I'm tuned in now. Kitty, thank you. Please invite your followers, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and please follow my channel for up-to-date, in-depth, valid information in regards to all kinds of cases. So, Valerie Cincinelli is, under my terms and under anybody's terms, a cold-blooded, calculated killer. If she's found guilty, which the evidence is overwhelming, the evidence against this woman is overwhelming, guys. The evidence against her is monumental. It's tremendous. She was texting with the FBI agent who was posing as a hitman and telling him how to kill her husband, where to do it, the best place to do it, the best time to do it. She gave this hitman her husband's work address and told him the time that he leaves, the time that he arrives, everything about his schedule. And she said the best place to do it is where he works because it's kind of a high crime area and they'll just assume that it was somebody from the neighborhood that did it. So that's how calculated and how callous she was. And this is the father of her children. They were in the process of a divorce. Now this sounds familiar with cases like the Valerie, cases like Janine Camerata that's going on recently with the New York City school teacher. She was in the middle of a divorce battle, and her estranged husband, which now we're talking about a reverse role, her estranged husband beat her, strangled her, burned her, and killed her savagely with his new girlfriend. So there's always a girlfriend-boyfriend twist in a lot of these cases, and this one sounds a lot like the Janine Camerata case. where the husband was being served with papers and they were she was trying to get custody of her children, and they just eliminated. This is how sick people think. And I don't know what kind of poison you're drinking to think it's okay to snuff out a human life. Hello, Sonia. Good to see you. Anna Ria. Good to see you. Thank you for joining. Samara, thank you for coming in and listening on your way to work. I don't know, Mel, Kelly K, exactly. Those are my sentiments. If you try to wrap your arms around something like this, it's literally impossible to do it. These are cold-blooded, calculated moves by a murderer. In my eyes, she is a murderer in every sense, guys. She fits the bill. She fits the bill for a murderer. When you work for the PD, you have backup. If you're in the DV, if you're in the PD DV unit, you have a whole unit behind you. I don't think that there's too many police officers in the 106 precinct that are happy about this. I'll tell you right now, they're all probably shocked and surprised by this. But the amount of evidence, we as police officers, guys, we know that we take an oath to protect and serve, right? So the overwhelming majority of us that do the job, thank God it is an overwhelming majority, we do the job with respect, integrity, and we place our life on the line, every day. What happens in a personal relationship? Now, this was personal. This was not police. She wasn't doing corrupt things within the police department that we know of. She was on her personal time planning and plotting to wipe her husband off the face of the earth and have him killed by a hitman, and then have her boyfriend. She went to her boyfriend to try to plan this murder, and then said to the boyfriend, "I want your daughter gone too." DutyRon, notifications didn't go out to everyone. Wanted to let you know in case you wanted to send out some invites through your Twitter. I'm doing that right now. I'm inviting on my Instagram and Twitter as we speak. I'm multitasking right now. Hello, Ron. Hi, all. Just joined. Lisa, Free Spirit, thank you for joining. I'm going to show you guys some video. I'm waiting for some more people to come in before I start showing video. But I have a lot of video. I have about 7 minutes of video that I want to show you. And this will break the whole case down for you. But I'm verbally telling you about this case right now. Everything I'm telling you, I'm going to go back over with video. So you guys will see it all. Just wonder how someone gets through the psychological evaluations and does this. Mel, it's very easy. Because if you listen, think about this. Girls, guys, everybody that's here. Think about it. Mental health, right? If you go back 5 years ago, right? If someone's suffering from mental health, and if you go back 5 or 10 years ago when you were feeling fine, and then all of a sudden, as we know, mental health sometimes is a quick onset. It happens quickly, or it happens from being put in a toxic or volatile situation. We as human beings, if we're put in stressful, I'm not defending this girl. I'm not defending this cop. I despise this type of action. I hate the fact that I have to talk about this, but I don't mind talking about it because it's real deal. But if everything is peachy and then you are thrust into a situation where you're stressed out for whatever the reason is, over custody battle, over cheating, she was obviously cheating, so there's a lot of things that are involved here. She probably, when she was hired 12 years ago, was okay mentally. They do a background check on you as you're entering the police department. And when you're cleared psychologically and through that background, they don't reinvestigate 40,000 cops. Maybe they should. I don't think that they have the resources to continually do that. But they have internal affairs. They have a lot of investigative units that follow up. But that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about this case. Let's talk about the meat and potatoes of this case and not all of the surrounding stuff like, how did this happen? Why did it happen? We don't have the answers to that. But I could speculate that this girl lost her mind and was so far out of it that she thought it was okay to wipe off the face of the earth, just like Chris Watts did, just like Michael Camerata did, just like so many of these domestic violence cases where it involves a husband and a wife or a boyfriend and a girlfriend, and things go wrong, and they think that it's okay. That the only way I could silence these people is just to take them and kill them. It's just crazy. How much time do you think she'll get in prison? It's going to be federal time. So whatever she's sentenced to, she'll do every ounce of it. That's the good part. If she's sentenced to 20 years, she'll go for 20 years. If I had to guess at it, guys, if I had to guess at her prison time, if she's convicted, which I'm sure that she will be convicted, it's going to be over 20, 25 years. She's 34 right now. 44, 54. For me, that wouldn't even be fair that she could get out at 54 years old. But let's just wait and see on that. That would be speculation. I respect your opinion, Aaron. I respect your opinion. I don't know her, but I'm basing it on her actions, and her actions are vicious, guys, are vicious. These actions are vicious. To say to a alleged hitman, to a potential hitman, run this girl over. If you don't want to shoot her at the school, just run the 15-year-old over. That's crazy, man. It's insane. That's what a cold-blooded killer would say. We had a case in Texas like this, and it wasn't a federal case. Why is this one a federal? I'll tell you why it's federal. Because she is a New York City police officer, first and foremost. Okay, that comes into play when you're involving a law enforcement professional. The feds get involved, Jennifer. And she went and used telecommunications, her phone, things of that nature, to set up this hit. So when you're using the FCC and the Federal Communications, any type of electronic device where it's on the internet or the phone, the feds have the option to get involved. But I would say the feds got involved first and foremost because it was a law enforcement officer. Hello, Max Cobra. Hello, Hinsdale girl. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. So I would say that's probably the answer to that question. So let me just say something quickly. Like I said, this was not a girl who was faithful to any of her husbands. She was divorced one time in the past. She was very dumb using her phone. Very. Extremely dumb. And I'm shocked that a police officer would, and there's where the ditz part comes into play. When one of her fellow colleagues, excellent Miss Holmes, when one of her fellow colleagues, thank you for being in here, Miss Holmes, one of her former colleagues described her as a ditz. And a ditz could mean that she was a little dumb. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you for spelling it out for me. Thank you, Lauren. She's a little dumb. So, I feel strongly about saying that, somebody like this is a calculated, cold-blooded killer, and that's not an exaggeration. Hi, Ginger Locks. Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Thank you for joining. Appreciate you being in here. Thank you. Thank you. So, I just finished some of my invites. That was exhausting, what I just did. I got to tell you. So, at the end of it all, guys, this is, whether she was a cop or not, this is just a cold-blooded killer who wanted to wipe out her husband, the father of her children. And the guy, you'll see in the interview that her husband was completely taken back by this. He had no idea that she would want to kill him. You're welcome, Herbert Outdoors. You're welcome. Yeah, I'm all about just straightforward details. So, you know, you'll see in the interview that I play for you, I care that she got caught. Oh, me too, Lauren. Me too. You know, what size T-shirt do you take? 2X, 2XL, Frank, 2X. Just to be comfortable. 1X would just be a little tight. This is a 2X on the shirt. It's kind of loose, but I like them loose, you know? So, you're welcome, Frank. How you doing, my brother? I hope all is well. So, let me just, one more onslaught of invites, and then I can really give you my full concentration, guys. I want to invite to my Snapchat group and my my WhatsApp group. I got like 350 people in the WhatsApp. And then I have a lot in my Snapchat group too. So guys, if you're not linked up to my website, DutyRon.com, go to DutyRon.com. Don't do it now, but go there when you can, and go check out all of my social media, all of the different links that I have to the New York City Police Department, to the Crime Stoppers tip helpline, to the domestic violence unit throughout the New York City Police Department. It gives you much information in regards to domestic violence. Hello, Nabul. Thank you so much for being in here. I appreciate you coming in. Thank you, Nabul. So I'm feeling a lot better today in regards to the tinnitus. It's down at about a 5. I don't like to, you know, I don't want to keep talking about it. I don't want to make this a part of my every time I go live thing. Thank you, Aaron, for putting that in there. Thank you, Nabul. So, you know, as a former New York City police officer and police detective, you know, this is a disturbing case for all of us. But for me, it hits home because it really hits below the belt. It's like a punch in the gut for all the good police officers out there. You know that song, do run, I do run. Hey, my heart, I know it. I do run, I do run. God bless. How do you keep up with so many social media outlets? It's like, yeah, I know. I got to hire someone to help me with this. Anybody want a job? Send me an email at DutyRon.com. Go on to DutyRon.com and tell me you want a job. And I got a job for you. If you got an hour or two a day to dedicate to this social media hype. I got 1,800 subscribers on Instagram and growing. I got about 1,500 on Twitter, a ton on Snapchat. It's exhausting for me. To say the least, it's exhausting for me. But I try to get the job done. I try to get it done. All right, so who wants to see a video? How many people we got? Nobody wants a job? I want a job, says Nabul. Nabul, you already got a job. Forget about you. You got your own channel you got to run. I want somebody that's going to give me, all of their attention. Not some stinky cheese and cheap wine. I forgot about Facebook. I got a ton on Facebook too. Hi, Girly Gamer. Good morning. So I'm drinking coffee out of the Jesus' Gift coffee mug, courtesy of Platinum Mimi, one of my good friends on Instagram and Facebook and Snapchat and Periscope and Patreon and YouTube and everywhere. This comes from Platinum Mimi, who is a friend of mine everywhere. So thank you, Platinum Mimi. My wife and I enjoy coffee out of these coffee mugs and your beautiful cookbook that coincidentally she wrote herself. She has her own cookbook. So Platinum Mimi, cheers. This one's for you. I don't have anything. No, nothing's wrong with cheap wine. Nothing's wrong with cheap wine. Cheap wine is great. All right, let's watch a video. You guys want to see a video? Let's see a video on this. Give me 2 seconds to set it up. Let's watch a video. Discovery. Okay. Give me a second. Okay, kids, let's watch the video. This is going to go over. Let me put my headphones in so I can hear what's happening. This is going to be about 7 minutes. All right. So everybody, while we're watching this, pay attention. It's going to break down every aspect of this case. But it's also what it's going to tell you is what the husband. There's going to be an interview with her husband. So this is her husband, 32 years old. And this is the actual potential victim of this crime. And he's going to break down what he did for the feds, how he staged his own death so they could take a photo of him looking like he was dead in his car. And then they showed it to this police officer and said, hey, your husband was found shot and killed at his job. And she faked her whole crying and her whole, this whole situation. She went into a whole crying fake thing in front of the Suffolk County Police Department, and they were working with the feds, and it was all staged, but it's all evidence that's against her that'll prove that she is a cold-blooded killer. So let's watch this video. If you haven't invited or sent it out to your social, I ask that you please do that at this time. Please, please. All right, here we go, guys. So let me go. Let me play this for you.
Officer tasked with protect and serving, who, according to the FBI, went out and tried to hire a hitman in order to kill her estranged husband and the daughter.
I know it's low. I'm going to put it up.
It's not something that you expect from any police officer.
At first look, 34-year-old Valerie Cincinelli is a role model, a 12-year decorated veteran of the NYPD.
I got it, guys. I'm going to play it back. Oh, technology. Freaking technology. Hold on, guys. Hold on. This is just being a pain in the ass for me. There we go. All right, here we go.
Staged my death.
Isaiah Carvalho Jr. was supposed to be dead by now, if not for a botched murder-for-hire plot.
All right, hold on. Frick. Son of a gun. I know what I gotta do. Hold on, girly gamer. Give me a second. Give me a second, please. Yeah, computers, Josh. I hate them. I gotta make sure. Gotta love to hate these things. It's gonna be worth it, guys. Just wait. It's the stupid mixer. It's the mixer. Open settings. Speaker phones. Let's try this again. I don't even think I fixed it.
Two targets, Carvalho himself and the other, a teenage girl. The alleged mastermind behind it all, Cincinelli, once the love of his life.
Does that sound anything like the woman you married?
Look, 34-year-old Valerie Cincinelli is a role model, a 12-year decorated veteran of the...
According to the FBI...
All right, here we go. This is from the beginning, guys. Right here.
Tasked with protect.
Let's start it right here.
Here's ABC's TJ
Right
Holmes.
This is a New York City police officer tasked with protecting and serving, who, according to the FBI, went out and tried to hire a hitman in order to kill her estranged husband and the daughter of her boyfriend. It's not something that you expect from any police officer.
At first look, 34-year-old Valerie Cincinelli is a role model, a 12-year decorated veteran of the NYPD and mother of two. But federal authorities say behind the scenes, she was plotting murder for the past few months. Her story made headlines last Friday.
With a shocking story involving an NYPD officer
accused of hiring a hitman to kill not only her estranged husband, but her boyfriend's teenage daughter as well.
I didn't want to believe it, but apparently it's true.
What convinced you?
When
This is her husband.
the feds staged my death.
Isaiah Carvalho Jr. was supposed to be dead by now, if not for a botched murder-for-hire plot with two targets, Carvalho himself and the other, a teenage girl. The alleged mastermind behind it all, Cincinelli.
That's when she placed a
Once
bank robber
the
under
love of
arrest
his
there.
life.
That's video
Does
from
that
that.
sound anything like the woman you married is capable of?
I didn't think she would be capable of it, but now I don't put anything past her.
The authorities never explain why they think Cincinelli allegedly went to these great lengths, but they say that she was actively involved in the plot throughout.
Investigators say Cincinelli asked her boyfriend to hire a hitman to kill Carvalho, her estranged husband, but also her boyfriend's daughter.
No one seems particularly savory here, but the boyfriend, according to court records, says, I know a guy who can do it for $7,000, and the plot unfolds from there over several months' time.
Instead, investigators say Cincinelli's boyfriend turned to authorities and agreed to have his conversations with her recorded by the FBI. Carvalho says the couple met in 2012 when Cincinelli saw a photo of
This is
him
her
on
husband.
his stepfather's desk at work, then contacted him on Facebook.
What were your first impressions of her?
At first, I just thought she was a single mother, and she was a cop, so, you know, I thought she was a good person.
Had she ever been violent towards you in the past?
Mentally and emotionally, yes.
Not physically.
Not physically.
Carvalho says the marriage went south when Cincinelli
That's a good
found
picture
out
of her
she
right
was
there.
pregnant with their son.
The relationship did a turn. Very distant. It was a very hard experience.
At one point, Cincinelli even took action against her husband.
She has a restraining order against me, and there's being motions set forth for works of me having one as well.
Carvalho filed for divorce months ago.
How ugly had things gotten?
We were about to reach settlement, so I didn't think it was as bad as maybe she portrayed it to be.
According to a criminal complaint, in February, Cincinelli began plotting the murders, allegedly
Daphne.
withdrawing $7,000 in cash and giving it to her boyfriend, who converted it to gold coins, the fake hitman's preferred method of payment.
There was a concern about bunching the two jobs together, and according to court records, Cincinelli said, let's get
Lauren,
the
he
girl
was married to a
this
cop.
weekend. And so that's when the boyfriend says, I don't know where she's going to be. Cincinelli says, let's track her on social media.
But
On May
definitely
13th,
never going to date
Cincinelli's
one again,
boyfriend
that's for sure.
says the hitman wants an extra $3,000 and that the hitman didn't want to carry out the daughter's murder near the school, to which Cincinelli responded, run her the blank over. How about that? Then just days later, last Friday, authorities break the news to Carvalho.
They told me, we don't know how to tell you this, but your wife put a hit out.
There was her statement, run his
And my
boy,
first
her
response
boyfriend's
was,
daughter, or
"Where's my
right
son?"
the F over.
Why was that your first thought?
I was worried about him.
When you hear that the woman you loved and married wanted you murdered, how do you react to that?
I was shocked. I'm completely appalled that she would even attempt or think this up.
But that wasn't the only surprise the cops had for him.
They're like, we need your help. We're going to need you to do something for us in order to further our investigation. They ended up taking me to an undisclosed location and had me fake my death and took pictures of it.
What did they have you do that morning?
They had me sit in my car. They put glass on the floor and all over me and had me hunch over into the passenger seat.
What was that like for you?
The craziest thing I ever had to experience in my life.
As part of the FBI sting, detectives went to Cincinelli's home to say her husband was murdered, and later FBI agents, posing as the hitman, text the fake
Listen
death
to this.
photos for her to see. She was arrested a short time later after allegedly discussing an alibi with her boyfriend.
We've seen this before, that the authorities will want to stage a murder when someone's trying to get someone killed, to be able to use that person's reaction against them in court.
I'm positive, like 5,000% sure.
The case similar to the story of Dalia DiPolito, the Florida woman caught on tape saying she was 5,000% sure she wanted a hitman to kill her husband.
Is your husband Michael?
Police seemingly told DiPolito her husband of just 6 months was murdered.
Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am, he's been killed.
Turns out police duped DiPolito. The crime scene was faked.
Try to calm down.
It was all part of a plan orchestrated by the police after her boyfriend tipped them off that she wanted her husband's money and condo and him out of the way.
When people hear the name Dalia DiPolito, what do you think comes to mind?
Everything negative. All the headlines, the person they're describing, it's definitely not me.
DiPolito has maintained that she was acting in that video.
The tape was a show, it was a tape. That was the purpose of it.
DiPolito's effort for a fourth trial was denied when an appellate court upheld her.
Okay, all right. So this has really nothing. They're just trying to tie this into that, but this is, you know, here's a video of just the. Oh wait, I think we just saw this. Yeah, we just saw this. But I wanted you guys to see this whole thing, but we just saw that. Let's not show that. Hold on a second. I think we saw this.
Accused in a murder for hire plot, her family is now speaking out. PD officer involving an NYPD officer accused in a murder for hire plot. Her family is now speaking out, and ABC's Maggie Rulli is in Queens with the disturbing details. Maggie, good morning.
Wait, good morning. Well, this is the precinct where that NYPD officer worked. It's where she was also once named Officer of the Year. Now she's facing some serious jail time for allegedly plotting to murder her husband. This morning, a decorated NYPD officer is behind bars, accused in a shocking murder for hire plot. In a criminal complaint, authorities say 34-year-old Valerie Cincinelli allegedly asked her boyfriend to hire a hitman with the intention of murdering her estranged husband. But it doesn't end there. Cincinelli, a 12-year veteran on the force, allegedly wanted to have her boyfriend's daughter killed by a hitman as well. Cincinelli's father is now speaking out in defense of his daughter.
I guarantee you, my daughter
This is her father talking.
Listen. Of this.
Saying there was more to this story.
We'll come out in court. This guy that she's involved with is a wacko psycho. This is the second time he's had her arrested.
Cincinelli's boyfriend allegedly told her he knew a hitman who would do the job for $7,000 converted into gold coins. Authorities say the murders were supposed to have happened last weekend, but as part of an FBI ruse, detectives went to her house to say her husband had been murdered. She was arrested after allegedly contacting her boyfriend to talk about an alibi, not knowing that he was cooperating with investigators the entire time. Her neighbors in utter shock.
Didn't see that one coming, that's for sure.
The husband, who was the alleged target of this plot, says he found out about the threat against his life yesterday morning, just like everybody else. His lawyer tells ABC News that he's now simply in shock. Dan?
I can imagine. Maggie, thank you very much.
A shocking story involving an NYPD officer accused.
All right, guys. I'm going to give you... here's the criminal complaint that's filed in federal court against her. Here's the criminal complaint, guys. United States District Court, Eastern District, United States of America against Valerie Cincinelli. This is what was filed in federal court on May 17th. Eastern District of New York. This is just a special agent with the Federal Bureau of Investigations, appointed according to law, acting as such on or in or about February of 2019 and the present with Eastern District, New York and elsewhere. The defendant, Valerie Cincinelli, together with others, did knowingly and intentionally attempt to travel or cause another to travel in interstate commerce. That's where the feds come in. Interstate commerce is always federal jurisdiction when it's interstate, when it goes across state lines, but also because it was a New York City police officer there involved as well, to wit from New York to New Jersey, and to use and to cause another to use one or more facilities of interstate commerce, to wit one or more cellular telephones with intent that one or more murders be committed in violation of New York State penal law, Section 125.25. The murders of John Doe, that's her husband, and Jane Doe, that's her boyfriend's daughter. Individuals whose identities are known to law enforcement. They're not going to put out or spell out their names in a federal complaint. Individuals whose identities are known to law enforcement as consideration for the receipt of and consideration for promise, agreement to pay, penalty, blah, 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 blah. This is just legal mumbo jumbo. The source of the deponent, which is the federal agent's information and the grounds for his belief, are as follows. So this is really important. Mel, have a good day. I am a special agent with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, and have been for approximately 2 years. So this is a 2-year rookie federal agent on this case, on this deposition. I am currently assigned to a violent crime squad of Long Island office of the Bureau of Federal of the FBI. I have been involved in numerous criminal investigations and prosecutions of cases involving violent crimes. This is the FBI agent telling of his background. Through my training, education, and experience, I've become familiar with the activities and efforts of persons involved in such activities to avoid detection by law enforcement. I am familiar with the facts and circumstances set forth below from my participation in this investigation, which includes but is not limited to my review of an investigative file, audio recordings, bank records, telephone records, and conversations with other law enforcement officers involved in the investigation and review of law enforcement reports. Number 2, an investigation by the FBI has revealed that between approximately February of 2019 and present, the defendant, that's the police officer, Valerie Cincinelli, has attempted to travel or cause another to travel in interstate commerce from New York to New Jersey and used and caused another to use interstate commerce facilities with the intent to commit multiple acts of violence, specifically the murders of John Doe, that's her husband, and Jane Doe, the boyfriend's daughter, from approximately 2007 to present. Cincinelli has served as a police officer with the New York City Police Department. Number 3, a confidential source, that is the boyfriend, that is Valerie's boyfriend, has advised the FBI, a confidential source has advised the FBI of the following, in substance and in part. The defendant, Valerie Cincinelli, requested that the CS hire a hitman to murder John Doe, that's her husband, Cincinelli's estranged husband, and Jane Doe, that's the CS's minor daughter. The confidential source told Cincinelli that, and the CS stands for confidential source, by the way, that the confidential source knew someone who would do it for $7,000 on or about February 18th, 2019. So she's been plotting this since February of 2019, ladies and gentlemen. She's been plotting this murder since February of this year. She went to, on February 18th, she made a cash withdrawal from the TD Bank in Wantor, and bank records confirmed the cash withdrawal. Cincinelli gave the $7,000 in cash to the confidential source to give to the hitman. The confidential source informed Cincinelli that he converted the $7,000 cash to gold coins and paid the hitman in the gold coins. Records obtained from a coin dealership in Massapequa Park confirmed that that same day, the complainant, the confidential source, purchased 5 ounces of gold coins for $6,935. So he pocketed a little bit of the money, the rest of the $7,000. Between February 2019 and present, the defendant, Valerie Cincinelli, and the confidential source discussed the murder for hire plot, both in person and as well in communication over cellular device. I'm not looking at the chat right now, guys. I'm just reading to you. Between February 2019, Valerie Cincinelli and the confidential source discussed the murder for hire plot in both in person, and also as in communication over cellular phones, some of which conversations were consensually recorded at the direction of the FBI. During those conversations, Cincinelli explains in sum and substance that she wanted John Doe, her husband, and Jane Doe, her boyfriend's daughter, murdered. On or about May 8th at around 7:56 p.m. during an in-person conversation between defendant Valerie Cincinelli and the confidential source, which is her boyfriend, which was consensually recorded at the direction of law enforcement. The confidential source informed Cincinelli that the alleged hitman was going to carry out the murder of John Doe and Jane Doe the upcoming weekend. That was Mother's Day weekend. When the confidential source expressed concern over the murders of John Doe, the confidential source had proven reliable. Information provided by the confidential source has been corroborated by other evidence, including bank and phone records and audio recordings. Jane Doe happened over the same weekend. Cincinelli told the confidential source to have the hitman kill Jane Doe over the weekend, Mother's Day weekend, and then wait a week or a month to kill John Doe. Cincinelli also told the confidential source that the confidential source should not worry about John Doe because the would-be murder in one of the locations and Jane Doe would be murdered in a separate location, so it wouldn't look suspicious. Cincinelli and the confidential source discussed where Jane Doe was located, and Cincinelli stated that Jane Doe is often in New Jersey. Cincinelli stated that Jane Doe was in New Jersey during the week and in New York on the weekends. During the conversation, Cincinelli used the cellular phone, checked Jane Doe's social media to find out where Jane Doe was located. She went on to probably her Facebook and found out where she was where she was posting from. And then Cincinelli further stated that if questioned about the murders, she would have nothing to worry about because she would be at home at the time of the murders and have her own alibi. Cincinelli also questioned the confidential source why confidential source could not carry out the murders himself or by himself. She wanted her boyfriend to kill his own daughter and her husband. On about May 13th at around 2:50 p.m. during an in-person conversation between the defendant, Valerie Cincinelli, and the confidential source, which was consensually recorded at the direction of law enforcement, Cincinelli and the confidential source continued to discuss plans to have John Doe and Jane Doe murdered. This was on May 13th, just this month. The confidential source informed Cincinelli that alleged hitman was at John Doe's place of work and asked Cincinelli what kind of car John Doe drove. In response, Cincinelli provided the confidential source with the make, model, and color of the vehicle so the confidential source could give that information to the hitman to complete the job. Cincinelli and confidential source discussed that the hitman would kill John Doe near John Doe's place of work in Holtsville, New York, which is here on Long Island. Cincinelli stated that it would not look suspicious because the murder would take place in the hood or the ghetto. Apparently, Holtsville, in her eyes, was the hood or the ghetto. And the confidential source also informed Cincinelli that the alleged hitman had located Jane Doe in New Jersey as well. Cincinelli responded, "Why wasn't it done if there's no problem?" She was pissed off that it wasn't done right away. Confidential source stated that the hitman would not carry out the murder near a school, and Cincinelli responded, "Okay, so she leaves school. You said he knows exactly where she lives, right? So what's the problem?" During the conversation, Cincinelli, using her own cellular phone, checked Jane Doe's social media to find out where Jane Doe was located. Cincinelli stated that, according to her social media post, Jane Doe was in Warwick, New York. On or about May 13th at around 3:55 p.m., during an in-person conversation between the defendant and the confidential source, which was consensually recorded at the direction of law enforcement, Cincinelli continued to discuss plans to have Jane Doe and John Doe murdered. The confidential source told Cincinelli that the confidential source spoke to the alleged hitman again, and the hitman wanted an additional $3,000. Cincinelli asked how the alleged hitman was going to carry out the murders. Cincinelli and the confidential source discussed what their respective alibis would be if questioned by the police. Cincinelli again stated that she would be at home and at the time of the murderers, and if the confidential source was with her, she would say that he was at the house, giving both of them an alibi and not being involved in this murder. So she wanted her boyfriend to be at the house and her to be at her house so she could cover her tracks and say that they had nothing to do with it. See, so she was so calculated in planning out everything, but she didn't follow through with everything the right way. And unbeknownst to her, all her conversations were being recorded at the direction of the FBI. So she is, nail is in the coffin. She probably won't get to see the light of day for a really, 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 really long time. And I believe that she does deserve life in prison, but unfortunately, if she's not convicted of a crime that calls for life in prison, then she won't do it. And we'll definitely disagree about how that goes. But unfortunately, I think we're going to be disappointed when it comes to the sentencing here, because she actually didn't commit the murder. She just conspired to have the murder committed. So I don't believe that carries a life in prison sentence, but it should. In all of our eyes, it should. But unfortunately, I hate to break the news to you that we're not going to get what we want to get out of this, which would be life in prison. She doesn't deserve to walk the streets ever again. Okay, so Cincinelli again stated that she would be at home at the time of the murderers, and if the complainant, the confidential source, was with her, she would say that he was at the house and they would have their alibi. Cincinelli asked how the hitman was going to inform the confidential source that the murders had been carried out. She wants to know from her boyfriend, how are we going to know that these murders were carried out? Cincinelli then proceeded to discuss possible scenarios for carrying out the murders. With respect to John Doe, that's her husband, Cincinelli stated that John Doe sells fireworks and that it could look like he was killed over money John Doe had on his person as a result of selling fireworks. With respect to Jane Doe, when the confidential source stated that the hitman did not want to carry out the murder near a school, Cincinelli responded, "Run her the fuck over. How about that?" And that is right here in the complaint. Right here. I'm going to highlight it. This is how calloused, and she's just awful. This is a murderer speaking. What I have highlighted there is the voice of a calculated, cold-blooded killer. There's no way to sugarcoat this. She is a disgusting human being. Warwick, New York is approximately 5 miles from the border of New Jersey. Okay. I agree, Susan. I'm not looking at the comments, and I apologize if I miss stuff, but I will start looking at the comments as soon as I'm done with this case, reading this complaint. We're almost done. Okay. As set forth above, the defendant, Valerie Cincinelli, believed that during the week Jane Doe resided in New Jersey, that the confidential source reported that in order for Cincinelli to try to find out Jane Doe's location, Cincinelli directed the confidential source to call different schools on speakerphone and told the confidential source to ask if Jane Doe was at school that day. So she had her boyfriend call the school on his own daughter and ask if she was at school that day, and he did that. But he did it because he was cooperating with the FBI. All along, her boyfriend, from the beginning, from I think day one, when she asked him to hire a hitman to kill her husband, he immediately notified the NYPD, and he immediately called the NYPD, who in turn called the Internal Affairs, the FBI. Annabelle, it makes zero sense to us sensible people, but to someone who's sick and that has, murder on her mind, where she just wants to eliminate people in her lives. I mean, these are people that walk amongst us, and it's not just because she's a police officer. That makes it even more severe, because she was charged with upholding laws and keeping people safe. But this is a prime example that you never know who you're dealing with, and if you push somebody far enough, or even if you just push somebody a little, you don't know what they're capable of. And that's human nature, and we all have to be aware of that. We all have to be aware of our surroundings and who we're dealing with and how far you push people, because when you push people, whether it's small amount or a large amount, there's no telling what their breaking point is. And apparently this girl, this Valerie Cincinelli, this NYPD police officer, who will soon be a former police officer, she lost her common sense and decided, I'm going to have my husband taken out, and my current boyfriend's daughter is getting in the way, and I'm going to have her taken out while I'm at it. As set forth above, the defendant, Valerie Cincinelli, believed that during the week Jane Doe resided in New Jersey. Okay, a review of the
confidential source cellular telephone and text messages between the confidential source and the defendant of Valerie Cincinelli. This confirms that the confidential source and Cincinelli communicated using cellular telephones multiple times between approximately February of 2019 and the present, which is May 17th, in furtherance of this murder for hire plot, some of which calls and texts were made to and from Oceanside, New York. Those are the pings from the towers in Oceanside. So, yeah, like, I don't know, Anna. That part is really bizarre. But I would imagine that, this guy, was like, I'm dealing with the total Black Widow here, psychopath. So, I'm thankful that he went forward. And had he not gone forward, we would at least have one murder on our hands, and possibly two. Some innocent 15-year-old girl and this guy. We would have had at least one murder on our hands had he not gone forward. I don't think under any circumstances would he have went forward with killing his own daughter without notifying somebody. But he did it right away, according to my inside source. He went right to the police as soon as she offered this idea. He began cooperating with them immediately. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. They're going to look at cell phone records before February 19th and see if it was earlier. If she was talking to him about it during Christmas of 2018, then he's going to have a problem himself. So the FBI, trust me, is looking at everything. They don't just take this guy's word for that he's a model citizen. According to reports, her boyfriend was a real piece of work too. He's 54 years old. He's a Tony Soprano wannabe, supposedly broke gangster. So the boyfriend who's involved in all this has a pretty crummy background as well. He's got a couple of grand larcenies where he tried to hold up a diamond dealer, and he is also a criminal himself from Ozone Park. He's a Tony Soprano. Listen, my confidential source has told me he's a Tony Soprano wannabe. So this guy is a POS as well. So I'm thankful that the investigation by the Internal Affairs and the FBI were instrumental in stopping this murder for hire plot, and nobody was hurt behind this. But just think about how many of these things are in right now currently being planned out. How many, exactly. Birds of a feather flock together. All right, let me continue this because I'm almost done, guys. I want to complete this complaint for you. On May 17th at approximately 10:10 a.m., at the direction of the FBI agents, at the direction of FBI agents, the defendant, Valerie Cincinelli, was notified. That's May 17th, guys. Valerie Cincinelli was notified by Suffolk County Police Department. That's where the police department that covers the area where her husband works out in Suffolk County. At 10:10 a.m., at the direction of FBI agents, the defendant, Valerie Cincinelli, was notified by the Suffolk County Police Department detective that the Suffolk County was investigating the death of her husband. Following the death notification during an in-person conversation. Now, the detectives from Suffolk came directly to her house to tell her, hey, your husband was murdered out in Suffolk County. During the in-person conversations between Cincinelli and the confidential source, which was consensually recorded, he was wearing a wire. It was recorded at the direction of the law enforcement FBI. Cincinelli discussed what her alibis would be if she were to be questioned by the police about the death of her husband. So, right after she got notified, on recording, she was recorded saying to her boyfriend, we have to get my alibi straight. She didn't even talk about his alibi because she didn't care about his. She was concerned about her alibi, not his. On May 17th, don't forget now, May 17th is when she was notified by Suffolk at 10 o'clock in the morning. At May 17th at approximately 10:48, which is just 30 minutes after that, FBI agents sent a text message to the complainant, to the confidential source, purportedly from the hitman. So the FBI agents sent a hitman message to the confidential source, that's her boyfriend, which included a photograph of the alleged murder scene. That's what the husband talked about, staging his own death, and he was visibly shaken in the interview. The confidential source showed Valerie Cincinelli the text message and photograph from the purported hitman. She immediately responded. The defendant, Valerie, instructed the confidential source that he needs to immediately delete those text messages and photographs from their respective cell phones, because she was looking to cover her tracks. She was like, holy crap, there's a picture of my husband dead on your phone. Get rid of that. Because she knew that there would be evidence. Thank you, Christine 64. So that's the copy of the federal charges brought, the federal complaint, not the charges. There's no charges listed on here. This is the complaint that's written up that'll go to the federal prosecutor's office, and now they will look to get an indictment in the Eastern District Court over in Long Island. That is over right in Central Islip. I've been to that courthouse many, many a times. All right. John Doe is her husband. Jane Doe is her boyfriend's daughter. That's correct, Miss Holmes. Okay. So this is the report. If anybody wants to see this, I can email it to you or whatever, or I can give you a link of where you can go to get it. Let's look at this from the New York Times. This is just a photo of her, and this is where you could get a copy of that indictment. It's here on the complaint. The federal complaint is right here on the New York Times, so you could download that. It's available publicly to anybody on the New York Times website. Okay, so let's get back to business here. Okay, I'm back, guys. The New York City Police Department's Internal Affairs Unit, this is what they're needed for. These are the cases that we really need them for. The FBI, like I said, the FBI is involved in this case because it was crossing state lines to commit a crime. They wanted to kill the daughter of the boyfriend in New Jersey. So that was a murder for hire plot that was going to carry out across state lines. Hello, Joey Brooklyn. Hello, Joe Rizzo. I know I'm screwing it up. Hello, Joe. Miss Holmes, good to see you. Susan Hurley, good to see you. Thanks for that. Annabelle, Pat Clemens, good to see you, Camaro Pat. Dwayne, thank you so much for being here. I'm just scrolling back. Sugar, please. Mishi. Oh, there she is, my good friend. I think I got everybody. So good to see you guys. If you're new into this chat, you're new onto my channel, let me know where you're watching from, city, state, and your country if you're outside the U.S. And let me know where you're watching from so I can give you a shout out. I have a special guest here with me today. He is Popeye the Sailor Man, and there he is right there. Popeye is hanging out. Everybody say hello to my African Gray. He is 31 years old. That is Popeye the African Gray, ladies and gentlemen. There he is. He is going to be 32 years old in July of this year. So that's Popeye, everybody. Hello, L. Quilter, new here from Mansfield, Texas. Thank you for joining. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please hit the subscribe button. Leave me some comments in the comments section below on this case. I'll be happy to answer any questions in regards to this. So you guys, I wrapped this whole case from the beginning to the end on what I know as of now. Atlanta, Georgia, says Dwayne Godson. Good to see you. Police officer from Atlanta, Georgia. Stay safe out there, my fellow brother in blue. Stay safe. This is a case that is very troublesome because of a few different reasons, guys. Yeah, they're starting to grow back in. Hey, stop. As you were saying that, he was picking at them. So they are growing in. I spray them every day with special spray, and they're growing back in pretty good. South Bend, Indiana, home of the Fighting Irish. Yeah, there you go, Lo. Hey, Ron, from the finest Philly Police Department, Edwin Vasquez. Good to see you, my brother. Stay safe out there. Appreciate it. Popeye is doing great. He's up here hanging out with me. He's up here hanging out. So, yeah, Popeye is here. Hello, True Crime Truth Finders. Good to see you. Thank you for joining. So this is a case that is disturbing, to say the least. We have a murder for hire, a twisted relationship. This is a woman who is committing adultery on her husband. She's cheating on her husband with a Tony Soprano gangster wannabe boyfriend from Ozone Park. And, you know, this guy is no doubt not a good guy. He's up to, you know, he's wanted. He was arrested for grand larceny. He set up a diamond dealer in Manhattan and robbed the guy. So, you know, there's a lot of things that's you know, stink about this. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things that stink about the boyfriend. You know, but the FBI is going to look into him front and back. You know, the boyfriend had prior issues. Yes, he's a Tony Soprano gangster wannabe. You know, and she was on the side cheating on her husband with this guy, and you know, retired from the job, Joe, and left New York, went to Missouri. That's an odd move right there. Why did you move to Missouri? Popeye loves spinach, Maggie May. He does. Popeye loves spinach. So, again, I'm a retired New York City police detective. I did 20 plus years in the NYPD. Proud to be a part of the best police department in the world. But, you know, when things like this come out, I can't hold back. I got to cover these kind of cases. I have inside information. I have a lot of resources and sources within the police department that I speak to on a regular basis. I've never jeopardized any of the cases, but I'm going to give it to you straight out. Every man and woman on the police department are not happy. Every good cop on the New York City Police Department, on any police department throughout the world, is not happy to hear of this kind of case. You know, any cop that goes bad, you know, granted, she did this on her own time off duty, but you're always held to a higher standard as a police officer. You know, everything that you do while you're active and on the job as a police officer, whether it's off duty, on duty, or anything in between, you're always going to be judged for what you do. So the bottom line is that you are held to a higher standard as a person who is charged with upholding the law of the land. When you put your right hand up and swear to take an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States, that's a serious thing, guys. I took that very seriously when I went to Brooklyn College in 1991 and was sworn in by the New York City Police Department and put my right hand up and swore to uphold the Constitution of the United States and the laws of New York City and New York State. I took that very serious as a 26-year-old man, as a young man. I was 26 years old. I'm now 55, and I still consider the job that I took as something that'll always be with me. In other words, if I go out today and I'm out and about doing my thing and I see someone commit a crime, I'm going to stop them from committing that crime. And it may cost me my life, okay? It may cost me my life, but I will instinctively jump into service if I see a crime being committed. And Joey Brooklyn knows me very well and knows that's what I do. That's what I do. You should do the Chris Watts story, man. Joe, I did it already. I did it. Been there, done that. That's old news. That's old news. Veggie Vibes, how are you? Birdie is on the right. Birdie is right there. It's just who we are. When you take this job on, guys, it's just like once a Marine, always a Marine. When they say that you go into the military, you're always a military person. That's a fact. That's the fact of life, guys. I will always look out for my fellow brother and sister in blue. I will always look out for fellow man and human. You know, anybody, any woman or man is being victimized of a crime and I see it, I'm going to jump into action. Once a cop, always a cop. So I'm never going to just sit and stand by and let something go on if I see it. You know what I mean? So that's how it goes. That's how it is. This is a lifelong commitment that you take. Hello, Margie Rocks. Good to see you. Linda, much love and respect. If I missed anybody in the chat, I apologize. I was trying to stick to the comments and stick to the facts. I was trying to give you guys as best as I could, you know, from the beginning to the end. I wanted to break down and give you what's going on in this case concisely, so you guys can understand it in layman's terms. I tried to stop myself from talking about police jargon. I was talking in regular layman's terms, and I don't like when I hear someone giving a lot of police jargon that people don't understand. So I was trying to give it to you so we can all understand it. Gotta go. Thank you so much, Lauren. Thank you for being in here. Love and respect to you. Anybody that's given super chat or that supports me through Patreon or any of the social media outlets, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Anybody that does that, Facebook, I thank you so much for that. You guys are awesome, awesome. Angel Prepper says, DutyRon, could I send you something? A fellow tubers whose son is missing needs help getting info out there. Send me an email or go on to my website, DutyRon.com, and fill out the information form on the DutyRon.com, or just go to DutyRon at AOL.com and just email me. You're welcome, guys. Take care, Edwin. Be safe out there, and I'll talk to you soon. It's not a shameless plug, but I published a song rap on my profile, Thin Blue Line. That's a good one. I would encourage you to plug that. Dwayne, I will definitely check that out. Let me hold on. Let me follow you real quick so I can see that. Oh, I'm subscribed already. Dwayne, I'm already subscribed to your channel, so I'll go check that out. Isn't that funny? I'm already subscribed to your channel, Dwayne. I didn't even have to do it just now. So for some reason or another, I'm subscribed to your channel. I must have came across you somewhere along the line. Lisa 1111. I gotta go check out your latest video. I saw the notification that you just uploaded. So I will be commenting on your latest video, Lisa 1111. I got the notification right before I went live, so I didn't get a chance to go see it. So cops out here in Missouri are cool also. Blue is blue. There you go. I will check it out, Lisa. I can guarantee you that. I will check that out. So, all right, guys, I think we covered enough. It's an hour and 22 minutes. We've been talking about the Valerie Cincinelli case. Anybody have any questions, comments? Anybody have anything in regards to this case? Please let me know. I'll take a couple of minutes of Q&A right now. Hello, Blondie. Sugar, please. Good to see you. Did the bird state his case? I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think he said anything. Hey, I'm not thinking. Popeye, do you have anything to say? What do you got to say? Anything? Popeye's got nothing to say. Okay, Lisa, have a good day. Great to see you. Everybody go check out Lisa 1111's latest video when you get a chance, and give it a little thumbs up. Give it a thumbs up. I bet her father hires an expensive lawyer. Going to be interesting if they go to trial. I agree, Joe. I don't know. I don't know if he'll hire an expensive lawyer, because once he sees the overwhelming amount of evidence that's on his daughter, I don't think any lawyer will be able to get her off. She is so far on the quicksand, there's nothing to get her out of it. Did she actually think she could get away with it? Yeah, she did. Most criminals are stupid. Yeah, Linda. I mean, I feel sorry for her, but at the same time, I feel that I'm happy that she was taken off the streets. She's a very sick, evil individual. Hello, Megan. Good to see you. Good to see you, Megan. Thank you so much. Yeah, she's an evil human being and doesn't deserve to see the light of day. I say that she should be in jail for the rest of her life, but I'm a realist, and I can't sit here with a good conscience and tell you she's going to go away for life. There's an extreme possibility that she gets 25 or 30 years in prison and gets out in her late 50s, early 60s. We will be hearing, I might not be alive when she gets out, but she may have a chance to see the light of day. You know, I'm 55. So if she does 30 years, I'll be 85. If I make it to 85, I'll be an old grandpa if I'm alive. But unfortunately, I think that she will make it out. But she will do every minute of her time. If the feds sentence you to 20 years or 40 years, you do 40 years. There's no early release. There's no parole. You're going to do that time. So anybody else have any other questions? Hi, Susan. Good to see you. Glad she got caught. Me too. I am very glad she got caught. Is Paper Angel ASMR here? Did I see Paper Angel ASMR? I'm just curious. Guys, my ringing in my ears is a 5 today. It's only about a 5. Can't you find out about her that later? I can find out. I'm going to cover this case right into the end. I'm going to cover this case right to the end. Hi, Mary. I'm late, but I'll watch the replay. Thank you, Mary. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. And to anybody who's given Super Chat, I don't think anybody has. Thank you for giving Super Chat in the past, in the present, and going forward. I greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much to anyone and everyone who does that. It's a good way to support your fellow live streamers, your content creators. It's an available option that you could give as a tip to your broadcasters. If you go and watch other people that do true crime or that do crime cases, it's always nice for a broadcaster to get that. Never necessary, but always nice. I have an Amazon affiliate link and so many ways where you can support my channel without going into your pocket. You could just simply shop on Amazon and support this channel through my Amazon content creator link. So if you need that, it's in my website. It's on my website. You could go there and click on the Amazon link and shop to your heart's content, and you could support my channel. Please thank your sweet wife for sharing you with us at DutyRon. I will, Lisa. She's at work right now. So you guys are getting me. I don't like to broadcast, obviously, when my wife's around because I'm hanging out with her. I have no reason to broadcast when I'm with her. I'd rather spend that time with her, and you guys understand that. That's what any good husband would do. And that's why I'm married 28 years. I'm married 28 years because I know how to balance things. And sometimes I don't. You know, hello, Cup of Joe, good to see you. Sometimes I don't. And then I got to get put in check. My wife puts me in check. So sometimes I lose grip. Like if she says, you know, you're going to live stream with me, it annoys me. Let's keep it to a minimum. I keep it to a minimum, you know, because what's worth more to me? This live streaming or my wife? The obvious answer is clear, my wife. So she doesn't break my balls about doing this. She doesn't break my chops about doing this. She just says, do it when I'm not around, and you could do it all you want. She's fired. She's suspended, Joe. She's suspended without pay. Pat, have a good day. Great to see you. Pat Clemens is my good friend from Facebook. She's my friend from Periscope. She's my friend from all over the place. She is a great gal from up north here in New York. She's not fired until convicted. Yeah, she's suspended without pay. Usually you get a suspension for 30 days with pay, but the NYPD, because of the severity of this case and the evidence, they suspended her without pay, which is usually doesn't happen. Now, don't forget, she was already on modified assignment. She had no gun. She had no badge. All she had was an ID card. Hello, Ireland. Good to have you in. She had an ID card and no gun and no badge. So thank you so much for your shows, and thank you all, fellow police serving men and women. Thank you, Angel, for thanking us. Thank you so much. She's definitely going to get the full Monty. She's being charged by the feds, so they don't mess around. The feds don't mess around. She's not only going to be an example, Joe, but she has buried herself. She's buried herself. Good for you, Ron. Great hubby. You are. Thank you, Sugar Please. Thank you. Thank you, guys. All right. Listen, let's wrap it up. We got 69 people in the chat. Much love and respect from New York. Guys, remember, be kind to one another. Hug your family and your loved ones. Always reach out to a fellow family member if you haven't spoken to them in a while, because know this. Your parents, your mother and your father, your brothers, your sisters, your aunts, your uncles, and your extended family and friends will not be here forever. We are not immortal, and we could be here today and gone tomorrow. So I implore each and every one of you, not just because I lost my mother recently, but because I know what it's about. Life is fragile, and that our number could get rung up by the man upstairs anytime, any day. I could, God forbid, end this live stream and be gone at the end of the day. So guys, reach out to your family. always cherish the moments. We got Memorial Day weekend here in the States. Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Have a good time. Be careful out there and be respectful and kind to one another. That's the most important thing that I take away from all of this live streaming. It's about respect and being kind to each other. I like to extend a hand to someone who needs it. I like to have my hand, if I extend it out, have a welcoming arm there, and I have a lot of good people. So much love and respect to all of you guys. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for listening, and I appreciate my moderators and all of my Patreon supporters. Thank you guys, and God bless. I'll speak to you all soon. I am not in Queens. I'm in Nassau County. Right by the Belmont Racetrack, which is right on the Queens border. Why, do you want to buy me a cup of coffee, Joe? If you want to buy me a cup of coffee, I'll meet you down by the track. I'm actually going to go to the track when they start racing soon. I'm going to go to the track and do some broadcasting. So everybody have a great long weekend, and I will talk to you all soon. Peace and love from DutyRon, and love and respect.